Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Thursday, March 27th, and welcome to our commentary. Well, it's the beginning of the baseball season today, opening day, as they like to call it. It didn't go real well for the home team, the Texas Rangers, but it's opening day. Everybody gets excited about it. It's one game out of 162. Obviously, you want to win them all, but it didn't work out well for the Rangers today. They lost 5-2. It was a 2-2 game in the top of the ninth. One out. Yeah, they walk a runner, they walk a batter. You know what they always tell you? Walks will kill you. Well, they do. For some crazy reason, the people who walk always end up scoring. They have a walk. There's a ground ball that took a crazy turn. Next thing you know, you got two runners on base. The next batter, 3-run homer. And there's your game, 5-2. So tough game to lose. Both teams played very well, actually. They got great pitching, but it all came down to one pitch in the top of the ninth that turned into a 3-run homer, and that was the game. So congratulations. The stadium looked great. Looks like lots of people showed up, and it was a good game. By the way, we're going to be doing a video with my good friend Dave Michaels here in the next few days. And we're going to talk about the 2025 season, make some predictions, and listen to what he has to say. He was at the game today. And one of the things about the game, there was a great article in the newspaper a couple of days ago, is the food at the ballpark is amazing. Expensive, but pretty amazing. I mean, when you grow up like I did, at a time when it was hot dogs and a Coke and maybe some chips. Now, all of a sudden, maybe a corned beef sandwich or something like that. Now they've got food. I mean, you feel like you're going out to several restaurants, and that is what it is, I suppose. They have these restaurants out there. There's even a section in the park where you buy a ticket, all you can eat. That's pretty incredible, especially if you have kids that you want to take to the ballparks. But anyway, baseball is always a great experience. And in opening day, I have memories of many opening days over the years, and it's one day that you look forward to. And then, the next day, it's the second game of the season, and everything from there on becomes the regular season. I have very high expectations for the Texas Rangers this year, by the way. I believe they're going to win the American League West and go deep in the postseason. We'll get into that with my friend Dave Michaels the next time we have him on. It should be in the next few days as we talk about the baseball season. Well, I have a post over at American Thinker today talking about NPR, and I've got another one coming out tomorrow talking about NPR and PBS. It did not go well for the NPR people before Congress today, or actually yesterday. I guess that would be Wednesday or Thursday, whenever they were there. It didn't go well because they really don't have much of a case to make. I mean, the reality is that, they keep talking about, NPR and PBS as if this is 1967 or 66 or 65, whenever NPR and PBS came into existence. Now, I happen to remember that when that happened. And the argument back then was that in many parts of the country, particularly some of the rural areas, some of the really isolated areas like, West Texas and Alaska or something like that, Wyoming, Nebraska, Montana or whatever, that there were many isolated parts of the country where it was difficult for radio signals and for people to get the news. So they came up with NPR as a way of taking care of that need. And it was justified to a point. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that it was a bad idea completely, because I used to listen to NPR many years ago. Then the same thing with PBS. They came up with a channel that was supposed to be educational and maybe better programming, Sesame Street, those Sunday night shows that they have, those British shows. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. And I used to listen to it. I used to actually listen to, let me shut off my phone here so that it doesn't sound when I'm talking to you. But anyway, it wasn't that bad. In fact, I used to listen to NPR quite a bit in the morning because when I lived in Mexico City, I spent a few years in Mexico City. When I lived in Mexico City, the American station or the English station used to run NPR, and I could also pick it up on Armed Forces Radio. You could also pick up NPR, and it was a way of getting American news. So it was, a pretty good deal. But something happened to NPR. It probably happened in the Reagan years, I think, Reagan Bush years, when NPR became just a mouthpiece for the left. And what used to be pretty serious programming became nothing but, just the kind of woke nonsense that we hear over and over and over again. And that's where they are right now. They're completely disconnected from the American people. What they say, what the programming they do is completely disconnected from the American people. And those are not my opinions. Those are the opinions of this guy Berliner, who was in the news here a year or so ago, who resigned or got fired from NPR for coming out and criticizing the network and saying, hey guys, how is it possible that that we have, for example, 87 Democrats in the editorial? This is information that he put out, not me. He put it out. How is it possible that we have 87 Democrats in the newsroom or the editorial staff and 0 Republicans in a country that has been pretty much 50-50 for much of the last 30 years? A country where elections have been pretty close if you look at the popular vote for the last 30 years. How is that possible? Well, it isn't possible. You cannot explain it. And, PBS is not that much better. So what happens is, they keep going to Congress for funding, and Congress says, wait a minute, look at your programming, look at your day-to-day stuff. And then they brought in this lady, Catherine Mayer, M-H-M-A-H-E-R, and the same last name, by the way, is Bill Mayer, but I don't think they're related. Anyway, so they bring in this lady, and she's answering questions from the Congress. And this lady has quite an inventory of things that she has said over the years that by any objective interpretation would be considered pretty liberal, pretty woke. This is not a lady that you would say is open-minded, and a lady that you would say has been, let's say, or open to conversation or discussion. I mean, this is a doctrinaire liberal, and that's the way her life has been, or at least her public life. This is a lady who said that she took off one day from work to read a book about reparations, and then says, well, I don't remember reading that. She has all kinds of other stuff. They would ask her questions during the meeting. Well, you said this here. Why did you say it? Well, I don't remember that. You said this. Why did you say it? I don't remember that. I mean, this lady doesn't remember anything. And she wants to be the CEO, or she is the CEO of a major radio network. My guess is that when it's all over, they're going to lose the funding, particularly if they do it through reconciliation, where they don't have to get 60 votes in the Senate. And it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing for NPR to lose public funding and to make it on their own. They should be able to make it on their own. I mean, if you listen to them, they have all these contributions and all this money. So why do they need public money? Why do they need public money? Again, this is not 1967, when I think you could make the argument that something like NPR and PBS was more vital to people, particularly people who lived in isolated areas. So anyway, I think they're going to lose their funding, and they probably should. And they're going to have to then figure out what kind of a network they want to be. Nobody really cares if they want to continue being like a version of MSNBC. Nobody really cares. I don't care, as long as, I don't pay taxes to fund it. I mean, I don't pay taxes to fund MSNBC, so I don't care what kind of programming they do at MSNBC. I don't care. It's a free country. They can do whatever they want. And if NPR wants to become a liberal version of MSNBC, let it be. I don't care, as long as they're not getting any public funding. And so that's where we are right now. And I don't think they're going to survive that presentation before the House the other day. I mean, I'd be very surprised if they keep their funding after the presentations of the last couple of days. So my post coming out tomorrow reminds me of, I write something on there, reminded me of Hillary Clinton. For those of you who may remember Hillary Clinton, when she was being asked questions about Whitewater, remember that many years ago, and about that law firm where she used to work at. And she would always say, I don't remember. And Rush Limbaugh did this amazing, hilarious audio of Hillary Clinton saying, I don't remember. Well, I have a link to it in my upcoming post, and I hope you listen to it. But that's what this lady reminded me of. I don't remember saying that. I don't remember writing that. Oh, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that. And pretty soon, my goodness, she doesn't remember anything. I wonder if she even remembers what she had for breakfast today. Lady has a horrible memory. That's all I can say. So I have nothing against the people who work at NPR. Good luck to them. But they should be in the free market with everybody else, selling advertising and doing what everybody else has to do in the industry, which is to go out and get your advertisers so that you make a living doing this. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. By the way, I guess that famous scandal about, the Secretary of Defense and Signal, whatever that app is, I guess the scandal is over. It was never really a scandal. The whole thing was blown out of proportion, but it's over. It's over. And maybe the lesson for anybody in this administration is look at your contacts. And if you're going to be on, broadcasting on Signal, you got to make sure of who's on there, who's listening, who has access to it, and make sure that everybody who is in the broadcast or conversation or whatever. Because this was the case of obviously a reporter who got in there who should have never been in there. How he got in, I still don't know how. I doubt very much that he was invited by any of the people in that panel. But anyway, it's over. It's not going to go anywhere. But there is a lesson here to be learned. And the lesson is check your contacts and the next time you're going to be doing these conversations, make sure you know everybody who is listening. There's a way to know, by the way. You can tell who's in there. I'm pretty sure there is. And find out who is listening and make sure that whoever is listening is somebody who should be listening. That's the key. Are they people you want listening? Yes or no? So that's the moral of the story, as they like to say. Thank you for listening. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.